It's Kesha. Welcome and welcome back. We are moving on to chapter 82 and beyond in the Aquarian. So before we begin, let's just take a minute to close your eyes and center. Take a deep breath in and out. Another deep breath in and out. And just feel yourself becoming more and more present in this moment, in this space. More and more present in your body. Calling all of your power back to you. And breathing that in, feeling yourself made whole. And see a column of light coming down over you. And as you breathe in that light, it fills you to the utmost. And we remember that we are here to experience and express the highest. And in this space, this is where we'll begin. So when you're ready, just gently open your eyes. Page 82, or chapter 82. While Jesus yet was talking to the woman at the well, the 6 disciples came from Sychar with food. And when they saw him talking to a woman of Samaria, and one that they thought was a courtesan, they were amazed. Yet no one asked him why he spoke with her. The woman was so lost in thought and so intent on what the master said that she forgot her errand to the well. She left her pitcher and ran quickly to the town. She told the people all about the prophet she had met at Jacob's well. She said, "He told me everything I ever did." And when the people would know more about the man, the woman said, "Come out and see." And multitudes went out to Jacob's well. When Jesus saw them come, he said to those who followed him, "You need not say, 'It is 4 months before the harvest time.' Behold, the harvest time is now. Lift up your eyes and look. The fields are golden with the ripened grain. Lo, many sowers have gone forth to sow the seed of life. The seed has grown. The plants have strengthened in the summer sun. The grain has ripened, and the master calls for men to reap. And you shall go out to the fields and reap what other men have sown. But when the reckoning day shall come, the sowers and the reapers all together will rejoice." And Philip said to Jesus, "Stay now your work a time, and sit beneath this olive tree, and eat a portion of this food. You must be faint, for you have eaten not since early day." But Jesus said, "I am not faint, for I have food to eat you know not of." Then the disciples said among themselves, "Who could have brought him aught to eat?" They did not know that he had the power to turn the very ethers into bread. And Jesus said, "The master of the harvest never sends his reapers forth and feeds them not. My Father, who has sent me forth into the harvest field of human life, will never suffer me to want. And when he calls for you to serve, lo, he will give you food, will clothe and shelter you." Then turning to the people of Samaria, he said, "Think not it strange that I, a Jew, would speak to you, for I am one of you. Think it not strange that I, a Jew, would speak to you, for I am one with you. The universal Christ who was and is and evermore shall be is manifest in me, but Christ belongs to every man. God scatters forth his blessings with the lavished hand, and he is not more kind to one than to another of all the creatures of his hand. I just came from Judah's hills, and God's same sun was shining, and his flowers were blooming, and in the night his stars were just as bright as they are here. God cannot cast a child away. The Jew, the Greek, and the Samaritan are equal in his sight. And why should men and women fret and quarrel like children in their plays? The lines that separate the sons of men are made of straw, and just a single breath of love would blow them all away." The people were amazed at what the stranger said, and many said, "The Christ that was to come has surely come." And Jesus went to them into the town and tarried certain days. In Sychar, Jesus taught the people in the marketplace. A man obsessed was brought to him. The wicked spirit that possessed the man was full of violence and lust, and often threw his victim to the ground. And Jesus spoke aloud and said, "Base spirit, Lose your hold upon the vitals of this man and go back to your own." And then the spirit begged that he might not go into the body of a dog that stood nearby. One more time. And then the spirit begged that he might go into the body of a dog that stood nearby. And Jesus said, "Why harm the helpless dog? Its life is just as dear. Its life is just as dear to it as mine to me. It is not yours to throw the burden of your sin on any living thing. By your own deeds and evil thoughts, you have brought all these perils on yourself. You have hard problems to be solved, but you must solve them for yourself. By thus obsessing man, you make your own conditions doubly sad. By thus obsessing man, you make your own conditions doubly sad. Go back into your own domain, refrain from harming anything, and by you will yourself be free." The wicked spirit left the man and went unto his own. The man looked up in thankfulness and said, "Praise God." And many of the people brought their sick, and Jesus spoke the word, and they were healed. The ruler of the synagogue and all the priests were much disturbed when told that Jesus from Jerusalem was preaching in the town. They thought that he had come to proselyte and stir up strife among Samaritans. And so they sent forth an officer to bring him to the synagogue that he might give a reason for his presence in the town. But Jesus said to him who came, "Go back and tell the priests and rulers of the synagogue that I am not engaged in crime. I come to bind up broken hearts, to heal the sick, to cast out evil spirits of those obsessed. Tell them, their prophets spoke of me, that I am come to break no law, but to fulfill their highest law." The man returned and told the priest and the ruler of the synagogue what Jesus said. The ruler was amazed, and the priest went to the marketplace where Jesus was. And when he saw them, Jesus said, "Behold, the honored men of all Samaria, the men ordained to lead the people in their way of right. And I am come to help and not to hinder in their work. There are two classes of the sons of men, those who would build up the human race upon the sure foundation stones of justice, truth, equality, and right, and they who would destroy the holy temple where the Spirit dwells and bring their fellows down to beggary and crime. Our holy brotherhood of right must stand united in the stirring conflicts of the hour. No matter whether they be Jews, Samaritans, Assyrians, or Greeks, they must tramp down beneath their feet all strife, all discord, jealousy, and hate, and demonstrate the brotherhood of man." Then to the ruler of the synagogue he spoke. He said, "United in the cause of right we stand, divided we fall." And then he took the ruler by the hand. A love light filled their souls, and all the people were amazed. I think I'm going to leave it there for now. So we've just done those two chapters, 82 and 83. There are a couple of things that struck me, especially when I was reading chapter 82 at the very beginning. Let's see, where was it? Bear with me a second. Okay, so the part where when Jesus says, "I've already eaten, I'm not faint, I have food that you know not of," and the disciples are kind of looking around like, wait, when did he have time to eat? It's so interesting to me the way in which the disciples, because we regard them so well now, right? We think of the disciples on par with Jesus and God, but at the time, the way this is written, it's like they're so human. Like, even though they walk with Jesus and they've seen miracles and they've seen these things happen, they still what? They don't seem to get it, And even though by custom they speak in parables and allusions, and metaphor, they still tend to forget, right? And so when he says, "I have food that you know not of," we can read that now and realize that he's being fed by spirit. But even though they are his disciples, they still haven't quite figured that out yet. And then when Jesus goes on to say that he's just gone through the metaphor of you say you have to wait 4 months into the harvest, but as you see the people coming, that is the harvest. And so when he's talking about the grains and the harvest being ready. He's talking about the people who are coming because they want to hear more of his message. And then he goes on to say that those who have been called to, Jesus says, the master of the harvest never sends his reapers forth and feeds them not. God would not send those he's ordained to minister to the people. He would not let them be without. And what struck me was that, at the time I stopped reading this, I was in that moment of not feeling like I was being provided for. But I have to remember I have been called to do this work. And yes, I am always provided for, whether I see it or not. And this is just a lovely little reminder the first day back, because, if you look at the date stamps, you'll see that there's been some time, a bit of a break between my last reading of the Aquarian. But yeah, when we are doing the work we are called to do, and it's not just ministry, because we're each called to do something. We each have a set of talents and ability that is the thing that we are come here to express and to explore. We are provided for, and I think we tend to forget that. And so I love that there is that subtle reminder. And then just and then he's talking, I love the part 2, and this is probably the last little note that I make. When he's dealing with the troubled man who's obsessed, the man's like, well, just, cast this into the dog, and Jesus is like, why would I hurt the dog? Right? You have this issue because you've taken it on, and it is your responsibility to deal with. And I just love that there is a teaching on ownership and responsibility, because so often the conflicts that we encounter, it's because either people are not taking responsibility or being accountable to themselves or to others. And we talk so much about a Christian faith, and that's that's it in its nutshell right there, and we tend to forget that. But I love how it's evident in the small things. It's not like Jesus didn't come to preach that particular lesson. It just happened to be that the person he encountered had it, and he has to explain to him how it is that he can be healed of it. And that's just the natural course of the teaching. This is an interesting thought. All right, so we'll be back next week with chapter 84 and beyond, and we'll see where that takes us. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you are too. Bye.